Another must-see video. Very little has been published about this. This is a crime. You cannot continue to let the U.S. corporation steal land from homeowners. Now, the 79 Rockefeller plan, silent weapons, quiet wars, silent weapons, I forget which title it is, but we published the papers and we did an audio so you could just listen to it. And in this paper, Rockefeller states, when people fail to stand up when the government takes their land, that is when they know, they being the government, actually the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, Soros types, know the public is ready for enslavement. Now just think about that. You should have no doubt in your minds that Trump works for the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and Soros. Passing these unconstitutional laws, stealing people's land, and not paying for them. Now, it used to be when you purchased a home, you owned the minerals and rights to everything under the ground. And about 20-some years ago, the banks, Rothschild-owned banks, declared you cannot own anything underneath the ground, which means if they discover oil on your land or natural gas, you get zip and they get to take your land. As completely tyrannical. And that these laws are passed is another reason why I keep saying our U.S. military is not our military. They have failed. They have never done their jobs of arresting these people in Congress, in the regimes of the past, whether it be Obama, Bush, and now Trump, passing these unconstitutional laws, trying to put people in prison for 20 years for protesting. Another violation of the Constitution. And again, if we don't start kicking and screaming and demanding our rights, they're going to take them. And you all are going to wind up in FEMA camps. Because that's the plan. If you haven't read the plan yet, at least listen to it. And if they took down our audios, I apologize. We will put them back up so you don't have to read it. You can just listen to the plan. But this affects us all. I'm going to play a little clip and I'll leave the link. I may have to back it up.
And demanding a halt to environmental extraction, said Tamara Tolles O'Laughlin, North American Director for the climate activist group 350.org, which has protested pipeline development. Let's see here. Skip ahead some.
I have to back it up.
Is committed to working with Congress to make sure that this is clear in any final legislation. Yeah, right. If you believe that this isn't meant to deter legitimate protests, I have news for you. It is absolutely meant to deter legitimate protests. The fines and penalties that they are trying to toss out there are absurdly extreme. Of course it's going to deter legitimate protests. And for those who follow through and protest anyway, the penalties that they will receive definitely stifle their First Amendment rights. People will still protest. People care about the environment and other people that much. And that's what the administration doesn't understand. Environmental groups, American Indian tribes, local landowners, and other pipeline opponents have fought projects around the country with tactics including the months-long demonstration at a multiple months demonstration at a campsite erected along the path of the Dakota Access Pipeline, as well as activists who have spent months living in trees in Virginia in an effort to block construction of the Mountain Valley Pipeline. The provision is a clear infringement on the basic right of speech and assembly and a poorly veiled effort to undermine the ability of Native and Indigenous communities to advocate for themselves and their tribal lands, said Senator Ed Markey in a statement. The American Gas and American Petroleum Institute said they backed the overall package of proposals PHMSA offered, but declined to comment on the specific proposal to mete out prison sentences for impeding instruction. Trade Association Interstate Natural Gas Association of America did not directly address the administration's proposed changes, but said it supported efforts to protect infrastructure. Generally speaking, INGAA is in favor of laws that serve to deter pipeline vandalism, a spokesperson for the group said. Tampering with or vandalizing critical infrastructure.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there and you can listen to the whole thing if you wish. But here, a pipeline that is going to cut through your yard, this particular one is in West Virginia, that this lady is talking about. They take your land, they tear it up, cut down a bunch of trees, kill a bunch of wildlife, and then they have the nerve to want to pass laws about people vandalizing their pipeline. They have just vandalized the land, owner's land, killed off their trees and sometimes their farm, as she went on and explained earlier in this video, their crops. And then they have a nerve to pass laws to protect the pipeline. And Trump just goes right along with these corporations. And these people in West Virginia really need to sue these companies under the RICO and sue them personally. And we, as Americans, need to get these laws repealed that are taking away our rights, our First and Second, which is always under attack, the First and Second. The right to assemble, free speech shall not be abridged. And what that means is you can't do anything about free speech. You know, having a free speech zone or passing laws. The Constitution clearly states that these people should be arrested by the military or the militia. Now, our militia can't do anything because they have never organized correctly to be able to take such action. And that's where we are. They're stealing land left and right, and of course, Trump works for the Rothschilds. You should understand that. Every president does. The Congress do. If you haven't listened to Cynthia McKinney's declaration on how they pledge allegiance to Israel over America, you should listen to it, and it should make you sick. It should make you angry enough to take some action. Whether it's to write a letter or start a Twitter storm calling Trump out on his bullshit, because clearly Americans are not first. Americans are just a resource that the government is stealing from. And the gas and oil and any natural resources under your land, you should be entitled to. They should have never allowed the bankers to do this, and of course 20-some years ago plus, when they passed the law, they kept it quiet, and you didn't find out about it until you brought some property. And the property owners, like I mentioned, that own their land 50 to 100 years have the rights to all the minerals and resources underneath their land. So they tried to get them off or get them arrested so they can just seize the land and not share profits. And this is another reason why the Trump regime and the regimes prior to him attacked countries like Venezuela and Syria and Libya, because their leaders, like Maduro, Assad, and Gaddafi, profit shared. Every last person in those countries got a monthly check from oil profits. And you see the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Soros types, the investors don't like it. And you as Americans, just like they did in Alaska, and they do in Alaska now, all Alaskans get oil profit sharing. And that's good for them. I'm not debating that. But what is unconstitutional is allowing a group of people, once again, to have special rights over the rest of Americans. And again, the Constitution says when that happens, the lawmakers are to be arrested and fined. Read the Constitution. Understand your rights and start screaming about it.